baleful consequences that led to. I have a feeling that this is an issue that will really start to hurt the Labour Party by the time the next general election comes along, where the Gaza independents will win many, many more seats. Let alone South Asian gangs fighting on the streets of Leicester, or the fact that 1 million people who are living here permanently speak little or no English whatsoever. We have to be careful, and we've been subjected to lies, lies, lies. Now, we're in Dover because it was here in 2020, just as the pandemic was kicking in and lockdown was starting, that I began to go out from this port to film the migrant boats crossing. It was a story that, sort of Radio Kent would cover it. It was a local story, but a story that nationally wasn't being told. And it was very clear to me in 2020, and I said that, frankly, you might as well put up a sign on the White Cliffs of Dover, everyone welcome. And I predicted there would be an invasion. It's a word that got me in very big trouble. But have a look at the numbers that have come. As for this government promising it would smash the gangs, I never believed a word of it. There's as much chance of that working on our current course as there is of smashing the drug gangs, something we've heard from governments for decade after decade, yet Class A proliferates on every street in the country today. Labour are doing very, very badly indeed. In fact, year on year, the numbers crossing the Channel are 40% up already. And that's before we get the warmer water and the longer, clear, settled spells of weather. This is a national security emergency. And one of the trends that we've noticed in the last few weeks are now a number of young Palestinians coming in from Gaza. And of course, they claim asylum. They'll be granted asylum. But frankly, letting people in from war zones, young males of fighting age from war zones, when you don't know what their involvement in those areas might have been, is an incredibly dangerous thing to do. And I am the only party leader that has been trusted on legal immigration. I've been arguing it since 2004. And on illegal immigration, I've been arguing it since 2020. These local elections on May the 1st, this issue will have a huge impact. I will give you but one example this morning, which is a northern constituency called Runcorn and Helsby. There are 750 young men living in that constituency who have crossed the English Channel. 750 of them, just in one constituency. And the big debate and the big press coverage is all about the hotels, something else that I exposed back in 2020. But the hotels, frankly, are the least of the problem. It's the HMOs that are increasingly becoming the issue. The houses of multiple occupancy. And as we've been out and campaigned in that constituency, yes, that house there are 10 men living in that house. There are 15 men living in the house round the corner. They loiter all day on the streets. They follow our kids to school. We're scared to go out in the evening. These are the impacts. These are the impacts on the lives of a huge number of people in this country. And yet Westminster just wants to cock a deafen. It doesn't really want to engage with any of these things. The cost just in that constituency alone to local government is £85,000 a day. And it's the same here in Kent, and it's the same everywhere. The total cost for housing these people is not all met by national government through taxation. 20 to 25% of it has to be met by local authorities. Well, you might say it's all well and good moaning and complaining about the failures of the two so-called main, maybe not for long, political parties. What I've tried to do there is to lay out some statistics over a broad range of issues to show you the extent to which this population explosion has damaged the quality of, I haven't even mentioned the roads, has damaged the quality of life for so many people. So what do we, as the most trusted party in this area, what do we intend to do about it? Well, frankly, the whole thing is pretty fruitless unless we leave the European Court of Human Rights and repeal the 1998 Human Rights Act. Every single week we see people, criminals, people who behave terribly, who ought to be deported, but they're not, because they claim the right to a family life under Article 8 of the ECHR, something that our own judiciary leans on. I recommit today we must have no more population increase due to net migration. That is something we may have to revisit as the numbers that are leaving Britain is going up pretty alarmingly, as is seen, of course, in the tax receipts from Rachel Reeves's figures in the last few days. We are committed to ending two-tier policing and two-tier justice, and frankly, that becomes ever clearer and clearer, particularly since Southport, and it's something that is enraging the silent majority in this country. And we will end all DEI recruitment in the public sector. The fact that 43 police forces now discriminate against white people in favour of ethnic minorities for jobs can only divide our country yet further. It's a mistake. We as a political party are colourblind. We couldn't care less what colour you are. We couldn't care less where you come from. We couldn't care less what your religion is. We just ask that if you come here, you work, you pay your taxes, you speak our language, you integrate with us. Of course, you can have your own private observance, but that is what we demand of people. And we have to have a meritocratic society. That is the only way. It's the only way our private companies or our public sector can achieve their best. And we will, of course, reiterate the fact that as an island we have advantages and we need strong borders. But enough of Home Secretary after Home Secretary making promises and dodging issues. This Labour government claim they've increased deportations, but all they've done is to send away visa overstayers and those who are happy to voluntarily return, often with £3,000 in their pocket. We will demand, this government does the same, that there is a minister for deportations. It will be part of the Home Office, but it'll be a separate department within it. We will need to recruit new people, as much of the evidence is that those that currently work in the Home Office would willfully obstruct policy if we won the next general election. But somebody somewhere in government needs to be held accountable. And you know, you've only got to go back 20 years to the last Labour government, and they were deporting tens of thousands of people a year who were here illegally. When Blunkett was Home Secretary, if you came illegally, you didn't touch the sides. You were sent back. So what I'm calling for isn't actually anything particularly radical. It's actually just common sense. It's what most countries in the world do. You want to go and live there, you want to go and settle there, you have to meet a set of criteria. And that country chooses, are you the right person or are you not? I know the problem is huge, because there are an estimated 1.2 million people here illegally. And going beyond the last couple of 100,000 is not going to be an easy job. It's going to be one hell of a battle, and we know that the state and the apparatus of state will fight us at every point. But it is our intention, ultimately, that if you've come illegally, you should not be able to stay. You should not be able to make a spurious claim that somehow your right to a family life means you should stay here. We will, in 3 to 4 weeks' time, announce more detailed policy on how we will actually carry out those deportations. We'll do that after the election, but I make the intention very, very clear here today. We will bring a total end to all asylum claims from people who've come here on travel visas or who are overseas students. We will demand the deportation of all foreign criminals. And for those who come to Britain and who are granted citizenship, that will be regarded as a legally binding contract, just as it is in Australia and elsewhere. We welcome you in if you make those pledges to us, but you actually have to obey the law and be somebody who is a positive benefit to our country. We are a party who are very proud of the fact we had more votes in the general election from the ethnic minority vote than the Liberal Democrats did. And an increasing number of people from all communities want to stand for our party. These are people who came to Britain, or their parents came to Britain, because they wanted to be part of this great country. They wanted to become a success in this great country. So try as anyone might to twist anything I've said today. All I've given you are hard facts. All I've laid out are sensible policies that will stop illegal immigration into Britain and stop the population explosion, which is damaging the quality of life for so many countless millions. Thank you very much indeed. Now, we have quite a big press list, and I will go through it in order, beginning with Stanley Murphy-Johns from the Press Association.
Hi. So there's no plan between you and the Conservatives.
What, no pact between us and the Party of Mass Immigration, did you say? So I missed you.
But there are calls to unite the right from people like Robert. So what could that look like for
Good old Robert the Remainer. Good old Robert, the man who's been on the Damascene road to Damascus, the Damascene conversion on the road to Damascus. You will see on May the 2nd that our biggest gains are going to be in Labour voting areas. That is where we are making most impact. I would also tell you that the majority of our members and a big percentage of our voters at the last election were not voting Conservative because they loathed the Conservative Party. They could not put up with the level of betrayal that had happened since the 2019 80-seat majority. If we were to even contemplate doing a deal, our voters would be revolted by it. Our party itself internally would be in revolt. And if I wanted to do a deal with you of any kind, I would shake your hand, look you in the eye, and do that deal because I trusted you. I don't trust the Conservative Party in any way at all, and we are going to replace them. Thank you. Next one, Kitty Donaldson from the iPaper.
You say you're basically parking your tanks on the table. I'm just wondering about Birmingham in particular. What would you do if you were in charge of the council there? Would you settle with Unite? And what's your view on unions more generally?
Look, we want to re-industrialise, it's slightly separate to today's debate, but we want to re-industrialise Britain. I worked for 22 years in the metals industry. My clients were rolling mills. My clients produced lead sheet. My clients manufactured copper wire. These were the people I dealt with on a daily basis working in the metals industry in the city of London. And I've seen nearly all of them go, disappear, since 1990. And we boast about the fact we've reduced carbon dioxide emissions by 50%. Well, no wonder, is it? We've just exported CO2 emissions elsewhere and given ourselves the most expensive energy in the world. To reindustrialise, we have to have a sensible, grown-up relationship with the trade union movement because they're going to be a big part of us reindustrialising Britain. This is not some dramatic U-turn by me or anything like this. It's a practical way of looking at how we do this. As far as Birmingham's concerned, I sense that Birmingham is just the beginning of what is going to be a very, very difficult summer and autumn for the Labour government with the trade union movement. They, of course, virtually own the Labour Party. When you think that, Unite have given them 28 million since 2020, the GMB have given them 20 million since 2020. Sorry, other way around, 28, 20, other way around. So they've really funded the Labour Party, and they see weakness from the Labour Party. And that, I think, is why we're going to see increasing disputes. Clearly, as far as Birmingham is concerned, the